Hey everybody, welcome back to another video update on Rocky Valley. I know it's been a while. I've been extremely busy, new job, all of that, so I just haven't had time to make a video. It also took time to continue working on the layout, didn't really have much to show until now. So I wanted to go ahead and show you some of the changes that I've made to Rocky Valley. You may have seen some of the posts in the recent weeks and last month or two about what I've been doing, kind of showing a few sneak peeks, if you will, of what I've been working on Rocky Valley. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so I'm sure to the viewers who have seen the videos before on Rocky Valley, you'll notice that the loading platform is now gone. This was a change that I didn't really necessarily make by choice, but what happened essentially was when I wanted to readjust the position of the loading platform and switch it around, it actually broke. It fell apart. I had glued it so well to the scenic base that even when I tried to gently pry it apart, it just crumbled. So that was a little unfortunate. I wasn't able to continue using that platform. So my plan B was to just take some static grass and apply it to this area and create a nice open spot with nothing there. So essentially what's happened to Rocky Valley now is that it is a single industry layout, and that industry being the Rocky Valley Fuel Company. So this does limit the switching operations. The platform I had, it added some variety, but I think this might be a good thing in that with having the platform gone, I feel like it makes the layout a little bit more open and not as crowded. This is only 1 foot by 6.5 feet, and that's very small for a switching layout. So I think it's going to make it seem a little bit more open. It's not going to be as crowded, and it might not be as interesting to operate, but I think overall, the overall feel of the layout has improved dramatically. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next change that I've made on the layout. So another big change has been made to Rocky Valley, and that's the removal of the general store, the side street that connected to the general store, and the parking lot behind the store itself. So this was something I thought about on and off for several weeks. I wasn't really sure which direction to go, but after the whole incident with the loading dock sort of crumbling beneath me, or beneath my hands as I tried to remove it, I started to think about this area and how I could open it up more and make the layout seem larger than it really was. Since this layout is 1 foot by 6.5 feet long, it's very small for HO. Would be better suited to N scale, I think, but I wanted to try and work in as small of a space as possible. And I never really enjoyed the fact that I had so much crammed on the layout. It just didn't feel real to me. So after the loading dock incident, I reflected about what I wanted to do for the general store scene. Now I really loved the general store. I liked the feel that it gave to the layout. And it also did connect to the loading dock in that freight was sort of transloaded between that loading dock and the general store. And I had made posts about that on Facebook groups and sort of told the story, what was going on between those two scenes. But with the loading dock gone, I figured, okay, I don't really need the general store now, and I need to do something to open up this area more. So I decided I was just going to go ahead with some simple static grass, some bushes, and a fence along the tracks. This definitely has made the layout feel much larger. Now, from a scene or scenery perspective, although the layout feels larger, it also doesn't feel as interesting. That parking lot scene with the ice truck unloading the crates and the people standing around the store, I felt like that told a story, and now there's not so much of that on the layout. So it's simpler, and it does provide, a larger, makes the layout feel larger, but at the same time, it kind of takes away a lot of that visual interest. And that's sort of one of those trade-offs that I guess you have to make when you have a small layout. Now, with the layout being single industry and only serving Rocky Valley Fuel Company, it's definitely not as interesting as it was. But I think the trade-off to make it seem larger than it really is was well worth it. And I'm hoping that I can continue to enjoy operations with the layout in the future. So let's take a look at one last thing that I want to show you. So here's a change that I'm sure many of you weren't expecting, or most, if not all of you, weren't expecting. So what you see in front of you is some 00 gauge rolling stock. Now I had an idea a couple of months ago to transform Rocky Valley into, I guess, a dual mode type of layout. So I wanted to be able to use 00 gauge rolling stock, but I didn't have a layout that was suited to that or was built for that idea. So part of my idea behind the transformation of Rocky Valley and transforming those scenes was to make the layout a little bit more universal. I'd never used 00 gauge rolling stock. I wanted to kind of see what it was all about. And you probably saw in the last couple months I made a post asking how many of you had tried 00 gauge and what you thought about it. I've never used it, and having used it a little bit on this layout, it's definitely different. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I found this rolling stock online for a pretty good price, so I figured I would go ahead and try it. I decided to purchase a variety of rolling stock. I've got some coal, or actually these are coke wagons. There's a couple of flat cars, there's a couple of dry goods vans, and then there's a brake van. Now, this doesn't really fit in too well with Rocky Valley and the lack of loading platform and all that, but I wanted to kind of just experiment, give it a try, sort of turn Rocky Valley into a shunting puzzle, if you will. And so far I've enjoyed it. I don't know if I'm going to stick with the idea. I might keep the rolling stock, maybe build a separate 00 gauge layout in the future. But for now, I think I will use Rocky Valley as sort of a dual purpose kind of universal layout. I can change a few things on here in order to suit the 00 gauge sort of British Railroad aspect. I'd need to, install a level crossing. I would need to install some buffer stops. I removed those from Rocky Valley to put on my other layout. A few little scenery details like that would have to be changed, I think, to make the layout fully suitable for like a British Railroad kind of feel. But I think it's doable. Now, this is something I'll experiment more with in the future, but I wanted to just give a little sneak peek of the rolling stock that I had found and my plans for this. Again, you may or may not see these pieces of rolling stock in the future, but I figured it was worth sharing. Okay, everybody, that's all I have for you in this layout update. I'm hoping to get a video out soon with an operating session for Rocky Valley and to show off the new scenery changes, specifically the single industry action that we'll be seeing on Rocky Valley moving forward. I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to do that video. With the new job and everything that I have, my time is definitely taken up by that, but I'm hoping to get a video out in the near future. The next video you'll see is going to be an update on my GMRC build. There's been a few changes, but just like Rocky Valley, I haven't had much time to do any work. But I'm hoping to have that video out in the next few weeks as well. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you.